Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me on the second part of the garden tour. Finally, I managed to record this video. The weather was all overcast. It was cold. Remember, with South Africa, we're going into the winter now. It wasn't a good time to film, and kind of got busy. Life got in the way. Anyway, the royal palms, there's two of them that's currently producing masses of pollen. And if you can see in that one, the bees just love it. You can actually hear the bees when you stand under the palm, how they're collecting pollen. So good show for the bees. This is the bottom part of the garden. There's some random plants. There's a banana. There's a red hot poker, and then this other type of palm that spreads really easily. It's a very slow grower, but it really looks nice. This part of the garden this winter is going to be changed. I want to take most of the stuff out and redo it. And here's a whole grouping of bromelias. It's a very large one. They do need full sun. If they don't get full sun, they turn green. You can see here they're green where they stand in more sun. They turn that orangey color, which makes it quite a spectacular show in the garden if you clump them together. Up more towards the house, just some random trees, and the lawn will now be cut. Well, by the time that you see this video, I'll cut the lawn for the last time this season. It's probably now going to go dormant. This is the northern fence of the garden, and here is my big Thai constellation. I've got another one, but it's not as big as this one. This one has now been growing in soil for 2 years, maybe 3 years. It's doing really well, growing a bit slow. Monstera elbow. Quite surprised by this one. It took a long time to settle. Even though there's a lot of white, it does not really get burnt by the sun that much, as long as you keep it fairly moist or fairly wet. And it even made another growth point. It activated another growth point. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one is going to grow. Paraiso Verde. Yeah. Unfortunately, when I got this plant, it reverted. There's rumors that apparently heat brings the variegation back. I paid a lot of money for this, and I would really, really love for it to become variegated again. So if you know what the secret is, please let me know. There at the bottom is some bromelias and a gloriosum crawler. Gave it some good mulch. And it's doing really well. Philodendron Burley Marks. Misunderstanding with my garden, and he took it out, so I had to replant it. But it's a really, really easy grower. Some unknown philodendron, humongous leaves, growing up here on a terminalia, the tree, some adansonias as well. There's a whole lot of stuff in bags that I want to get rid of, or I still have to plant. Very easy grower. Never really water it. It only really gets rain when it water, and it calls up the tree. But it's these massive, massive leaves. That's towards the bottom gate. You can see just more plants. Philodendron, no ID. I got it as a small little plant from a friend. Planted it here, and now it's starting to look like something. It's not so red like the Rojo Congo. I don't think it is one. Diffenbachias I had for years and years, that every time I moved, I took them with me, planted them there. Monstera deliciosa, large form. Oh, this plant is taking over. I'm going to have to do a separate video about this. I'm going to have to get rid of most of it. It's going to be a difficult thing to do because I'm going to have to thin it out and cut out. I've started planting some on the perimeter so that it doesn't, I'm not losing it, and it grow up against the fence. Anthurium baluanum that you saw there. This is just some pretty bromeliad that's growing next to a monkey apple tree, which I planted probably 15 years ago, and the grower warned me at the time they are notoriously slow growing. This is a Vanda orchid. Monkey apple, a lot of the people use the big seeds. It makes these really big seeds, and they engrave and burn and paint patterns on it. It's really pretty, but it's a very slow grower. In South Africa, we call this the mealie plant, Dracaena. There's some alocasias. At the back, there is a moonflower. Winter, they're not doing well this time of the year. And again, by the time you see this, I've probably cut down most of this or pruned it because it's not very happy at the moment. This tree is a yellowwood, and the Platycerums, Platycerum bifurcatum that you see growing against it, I never planted it to seed it itself. Apparently, well, now I know that Platycerum is very easy to sprout if you have the right conditions, or to grow, as long as the humidity is high enough and it gets enough water. There I zoomed in on top. At some point I'm going to have to start taking it off because it's take over. The yellowwood is normally a fairly dense tree. This one is not so much. That's why these Platycerums are doing, or the staghorns are doing, relatively well. Further down to the bottom of the garden, I bought this as a philodendron silver wings. Apparently in America it's known as silver wings. Here we call it silver sword. I think it's Cypastatum, philodendron Cypastatum. This one has now finally grow aerial roots around the tree, so it's kind of secure, but the insects and whatever is eating it is giving it a hard time. But it's really doing relatively well for a plant that does not get that much attention. Squamiferum, Philodendron squamiferum, growing there next to a fever tree. And these branches that you see here is from baboon rope creeper, I think is the common name. Apparently when these lichen and stuff grow easily, it means that the purity of the air is very pure. That's why they grow in areas where the pure is contaminated with smoke and fog. Apparently they're not so easy to grow. Right from the bottom of the garden, forgot the name of the tree now. There's the palms again, some other palms, and going up towards the house. I'll do an in-depth video of all the names at some point. Here are all the strelitzias. I had to move them from up where I'm going to redo the garden quite a few years ago, because they just, if they get too much shade, they will not flower. So we had to move them down here where they get a little bit more sun. They're not in absolute full sun all the time, but they're getting a lot more sun. And now, remember, they come from the Cape, so they want water in winter. This one is doing really well with all the flowers. The others are a little bit stingy to flower. This is Strelitzia regina, and at the back is Nicolai. Nicolai is the popular one that people want to grow in the house. And there at the back, do you see how tall or how large a Nicolai really get? Some people call this the white bird of paradise. But to me, the orange one is the real bird of paradise. Tomatophyllum, I got this from a friend of mine from the garden club many years ago. She took them out of her garden and asked me if I wanted to. I went and I fetched them. They a really good filler, look beautiful. If you do plant them close to a tree, they will wrap their aerial roots around the tree and grow up the tree and use the tree as a support. beautiful and very easy to grow in the area. That grey is some kind of fern, I'm not sure what it's called. And then here, this is more of a woodland area where I planted. There you'll see a Baluanum, Anthurium baluanum, and the other philodendron creepers up there. This is Atabapuense. This shrub here, the grey leaves, is an indigenous shrub. Forgot the name at the moment. And look at this. I was quite surprised by Philodendron El Choco Red or Rubri juvenile. Planted in here and it's doing remarkably well. Wasn't happy in a pot, and ever since I planted here, it really started growing well. Brandtierhanum, I love Brandtierhanum. I don't know why people don't really like it. And I'm hoping to grow Brandtierhanum with really, really big leaves. It just looks so spectacular. This is more the back up to the main house. You'll see some the Anthurium with the pink leaves. Sorry, yeah, the pink flowers. The Anthurium, standard Anthurium, the pink flowers, the plants are a lot more cold tolerant. The Anthuriums with the red flowers, not so much. They fairly cold sensitive. So the pink ones just forever full of flowers, very easy to grow. The red ones, if you're in a fairly cold area, I wouldn't recommend it. Philodendron, what is this? Rojo Congo. That survived. The other ones died. Blaumanii and Verrucosum. Verrucosum, long story, finally able to grow it. What a difficult plant. Now look how happy it is. But I'll do a separate video on this one. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you got this far, please like, please subscribe, and I will start doing in-depth videos. Tomorrow we're going to do some work in the garden. I've got a gardener that's coming in to come and help me, and I will try and video as much as that. In winter, we normally use the time to clean up the garden and tidy up so that we're getting ready for next year. Thank you all, and see you in the next one. Have a great time.